Good evening, Jessica Van Vonderen with ABC News. Questions about Australia's tough gun laws have been put to both US President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull at a joint press conference in Washington. Mr Turnbull declined to advise Mr Trump on how to address gun violence, and Mr Trump rejected suggestions he should take a leaf out of Australia's book. And as political editor Andrew Probyn reports, the meeting shook off any leftover tension between the two after a testy phone call last year.
Malcolm Turnbull and wife Lucy welcomed like old friends.
Thank you very much. It's a relationship we have with Australia is a terrific relationship and probably stronger now than ever before.
It's 100 years of mateship we're celebrating this year.
The show over, the two leaders emerged 90 minutes later, the President with a gift, a US combat ship to be named
the USS Canberra.
But weightier military matters quickly steamed in. New sanctions on North Korea and a dark presidential warning.
If the sanctions don't work, we'll have to go phase two. And phase two may be a very rough thing, may be very, very unfortunate for the world.
Malcolm Turnbull had already been briefed on the sanctions.
Yeah, he's very supportive, and we've encouraged him to work with us on sanctions in other areas.
But the two nations aren't on the same page when it comes to a regional trade pact.
Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP, was a very bad deal for the United States. It would have cost us tremendous amounts of jobs.
Then came a Trump tour de force on gun laws.
Very, very important that we have offensive capability as well as defensive capability that's within the schools.
The United States has convulsed in the wake of last week's Florida school shooting, the nation torn between an historical right to bear arms and the violence of modern weaponry. Australia's tight gun restrictions are being cited in US protests, but Donald Trump says guns protect the vulnerable, especially in schools.
You're not going to solve it with gun-free spaces, because they'll get in there and they're going to be the only one with a gun.
We'll focus on our own political arguments and debates and wish you wise deliberation in your own.
Friends with differences.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Beneath the rather hokey reference to mateship, there's real purpose. Malcolm Turnbull wants to remind Donald Trump of America's strategic importance to Australia and the Asia-Pacific, with concerns that an insular United States may drift from its historic responsibilities. But while President Trump might get that, when it comes to a regional trade pact or gun reform, he's not for listening, even from a mate. Andrew Probyn, ABC News, Washington.